Hi, I'm Christa Jacobson, headmistress of the Budo, where we teach authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai Bujutsu. And for those of you who don't know what that is, those are the ancient martial arts of the ninja and samurai. Tonight we're going to be talking about martial art politics, specifically two topics. Now, I'm not talking about Republicans and Democrats. We're not talking about that kind of politics. We're talking about politics within the martial arts, okay? Now, the two topics that we are going to discuss is women in the martial arts. I'm also going to share with you some of the challenges that I face as a transgendered woman teaching martial arts. Both of these topics, I would like for you guys to put your comments and your insight below. I would like to know what you guys think, okay? But before we begin, I do want to say a few things. Number one, my YouTube channel is geared more towards techniques, training, tactics, strategies, philosophy, the training of the martial arts. At the Budo we have 7 ancient warrior traditions of the ninja and samurai. So my channel is really heavily into traditional Japanese Koryu martial arts, historical Ninjutsu and Bujutsu, and my particular school has a heavy emphasis in reality-based self-defense, like the raw reality of a violent attack, and if you're not prepared for it, then you're not prepared for it. So most of my videos are geared towards that. My channel is not geared for martial art politics. There are lots of other channels out there that do that. So I don't want to do that. This isn't going to be a normal type of a video. But tonight, I definitely want to share my thoughts with you guys on these two particular topics. So again, it's one of my late night walks. And, family's asleep, dojo's closed, and here I go. The two topics we're going to discuss one more time is women in the martial arts and challenges that I face as a transgendered woman teaching martial arts. And I'm going to tell you where this is spurred from, okay, real quick. This is spurred from every day we wake up, we're seeing things on the news about women's rights and this, that, and the other, and I'm seeing lots of stuff all over YouTube and all over the social media and all that kind of stuff, and I really don't want to get into that, so please don't post anything about that. That is absolutely not what this video is about. But when you take that and then you add it to that I am a woman in the martial arts, and I know that there are certain things in the martial arts that I feel that are very stereotypical, I want to address a few topics and kind of ping some thoughts off you guys and see what you guys think. A couple weeks ago, I had an individual give me a phone call. He joined the Budo online ninjutsu dojo, and he gave me a phone call. It was a really good phone call, but he also, about really towards the end of the phone call, he started calling me the other pronoun. And I know by now he even said he's seen the pictures of me on Facebook. So I knew that he had already seen me on Facebook. He knows how I carry myself. He knows how I present myself. My name is Christa. I can't even remember. It's been well over 10 years since someone in my life, in my physical life, someone actually talks to me and doesn't address me as a woman. Like, it just don't happen. And when he did it, I was just like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Because I just didn't understand how I know that most people, people know that I'm transgendered. That isn't a big deal. To me, it's not a big deal. But for him to purposely flip that, I thought was like, so I do want to say that I'm going to keep this individual anonymous. Once I bring it to his attention, like, hey man, why'd you do that? If you're going to be disrespectful, I'm just going to give you a refund. I don't want to deal with it. He was very apologetic. He was very sincere. He gave me a real brick of a message back, but I'm going to totally keep that individual out. I'm going to keep this individual's identity out. He apologized. I accept it. He was very sincere. I believe him to be sincere. But the situation I would like to use when I discuss my experiences as a transgendered woman teaching martial arts, which will be the second part of this video. First part, women in the martial arts. I feel that women in the martial arts don't get a fair shake when it comes to being seen as a combatant, or being seen as a warrior, or being seen as a legitimate martial artist in the martial arts community. And I think that stems more not from the martial art community, because I think most men in the martial arts do respect women in the martial arts. I absolutely do, because if you're in the martial arts, one thing you learn is you can get your ass whooped by anybody at any time. So I don't think that it's the men in the martial arts that perpetuate the fact that women are not equal when it comes to martial arts. It's kind of like when you see the most physically demanding jobs that we offer here in our country. Women are in the Army, women are in the Marines, women are in the Navy, women are in the Air Force, women are in the police force, women are doing their firefighters, their EMTs. They do everything that's just as physically demanding as men do. And I don't think that the men in those fields see women differently. I think that it's perpetuated by the media and the movies and the video games and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I really want to ping with you guys, because why is it that the media portrays women in a lesser role when it comes to, you know, combat or being a warrior or being a martial artist than what they do men? There is a little bit of a double standard in the media. Like when you get a black belt magazine, you know, Bruce Lee got his shirt off, he's flexing his muscles, you know, and Jean-Claude Van Damme, and they're all got their shirts off, they're topless, these big dudes, big muscles, they're showing them off, and they're presenting their masculinity, right? And when they show this masculinity, people believe that to be a really good fighter. I mean, like, if you're really big, you kick someone's ass, right? Well, if that's the case, how come bodybuilders don't win the UFC? If that's the case, how come bodybuilders aren't kickboxing champs? Right? How come strongmen competition champions don't get their ass in the boxing ring? Because it doesn't always equate. It does not equate. But for some reason, our society is hell-bent on believing that men with these big-ass muscles are just seen as these awesome fighters and you can't fuck with them, right? Why is that? I can tell you from experience in the martial arts, the people that I've seen are the best fighters. They don't look like that shit at all. Some of them are underweight, little skinny. Man, they can fucking scrap, tough as shit. I'm just saying that the majority of people that I've seen that are legitimate badasses, they look like they don't work out, one, they got a little gut on them, or they're a little underweight and they're just tough as fuck and they're just scrapping and they give zero shits about getting into a fight. But for some reason, our media portrays that men have to look like the fucking Rock to be considered tough. And that right there is a stereotype that I think hinders men. It had nothing to do with women in the martial arts. I think that's a bad stereotype for men, because it's a false image. It's a false representation of what a true warrior, a true fighter, a true martial artist is when it comes to having the skills in the martial arts or skills in combat. You don't have to look like a bodybuilder to be good at combat. But the media tends to portray that. With women, when you have women, and I do this all the time on purpose, you know, as you guys know, I worked as a nude model, I worked in adult entertainment. I purposely make sure that I do show my femininity on purpose, because I think that people the world needs to open their mind. If men can show their masculinity, and I'm not talking about the men in martial arts, I'm talking about the men in the media, the Jean-Claude Van Dammes, that kind of stuff. They could show their masculinity, they could show their muscles, and people are like, yes, masculine means warrior. But then you have a woman who shows her femininity, and that doesn't equate. And to me, that concept doesn't make sense. So I am very much like a rebel in that sense. I constantly push the femininity and push that out there because I feel that my martial arts skills, I have no doubt in my skills as a martial artist. And if I feel like I can defend myself, I can protect my family. I also feel like I need to keep pushing harder and work harder to sharpen my skills even more, because I also understand that no matter how good you are, there's always someone out there better. I definitely don't like the idea that society is hell-bent on the fact that just because there's this woman who teaches martial arts, but she also portrays femininity, that equates into, well, she can't be a good martial artist. Well, why the fuck is that? When you have a man with big-ass muscles, he is? To me, there's two types of people in the world. I don't give a shit about race, religion, gender, don't care. To me, you're either an asshole or you're not an asshole. If you're not an asshole, you are more than welcome to come into my dojo and train. I'll be more than happy to work with anybody that's got a good heart and is willing to learn. If you've done me wrong, I don't walk on that bridge twice. If you've done me wrong, then we're done. I don't wish harm on anybody. I don't hate anybody. I'm not wishing bad on anybody. But I'm not fucking with someone that fucked me over. That just ain't happening. That's just the way that I am. So I want you guys as questions. I mean, do you think that it arises from the sexuality of the media? Do you guys feel that it arises from maybe the comic books? Because we see Wonder Woman and Tila and Batgirl and Supergirl and all these, the superheroes, Red Sonja. But in those superheroes, those comic books, they still express a huge amount of femininity, but people still see them in that world of fantasy as a good warrior, right? So my question to you guys is, because you guys are martial artists, and I do genuinely believe, if you're on my channel, then you probably study martial arts. And I do genuinely believe that the majority of men in the martial arts do not see women as less in the martial arts. And I say that out of experience. I genuinely don't believe men see that. But I think that people outside of the martial arts community does. And I think that does play a little bit of political, it does have a little bit of political views within martial arts, because I don't think that women get a fair shake when they're trying to run a martial arts business. I think it's influenced by the media. I think it's influenced by the news, by that kind of stuff, the movies and Hollywood and the media and the news channels. I think it's perpetuated by that, and that's what really hinders it for the most part. So I want your guys' thoughts on that. Do you guys feel that the media does portray women in a weaker role, and because of that weaker role that the society tends to put on women, it makes it difficult for women to excel in jobs like martial arts, or, you know, military or whatever, right? Just your thought on that, all right? So that's number one. The second thing I wanted to talk about, which I feel that these two things go hand in hand. I don't think that's the reason why I want to put them both together. Some people would tell you that they need to be separate, but those are closed-minded individuals, and it is what it is, right? But I think it should be the same video. So my thing is, the question arose, what are the difficulties that you face being a transgendered woman? I face difficulties every day. I don't think that you guys realize how much shit I catch online every day. In my regular life, absolutely none. Anytime I go to a store, I go out with friends, I go out to the club, I go out, have a good time, I'm going out and about, I never run into issues as far as like someone saying the wrong pronoun. Everyone always says, yes ma'am, or if they know me, it's Miss Jacobson, or Christa, or she, or her. I never run into the problems. But I also portray myself, and I live my life and express my femininity a lot. You know what I mean? And in the martial arts, it's different because it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, you wear the same gi, right? Man or a woman, you wear the same belt. Man or woman, you still do the same technique. So in martial arts, it's a little different. But outside of the dojo, I do express myself in a way that's very feminine. And so I don't really run into that problem. Now, online though, you would be shocked at the amount of hate I get every fucking day on the internet. I get people that call me a I get people that'll make a kind comment on my channel. Like they'll say, oh, you look really good today, sensei, or oh, I like the dress. Sometimes that might be a little over-sexual. They're meaning it to be a compliment. Someone is always going to get in there, and there's someone that's never typed on my channel. They've never commented before. It's some random individual. It's like, you do know that's a dude. You know what I mean? It's like, God damn. You know, why do you gotta be such a hateful ass? Every single day I got people, it's like, you're gonna burn in hell. You're a disgrace to the martial arts. You're an embarrassment. People say that I should just go and myself or whatever, you know. I mean, you would be shocked at the amount of hate that I get every day. On average, I probably block 5 to 10 people a day because they're being hateful towards towards my gender. Like, it's abusive how many people are just so freaking hateful. The reason I'm bringing this up, as I want to share that as an experience, is because it is night and day in the real world. In the real world, nobody addresses me like that. Strangers, when I go to stores, when I go shopping, when I go to the mall, when I go to restaurants, places I've never gone, strangers do not address me like that at all, ever. But on the internet, when you're behind the screen, people really throw that hate out there. And that's the exact reason why I wanted to bring this up. So let's go back to the individual that gave me a phone call, right? So he gives me a phone call and we're talking. And again, if that individual is watching this message, I just want to say, if he's watching this video, totally accepted your apology. I felt you were very sincere. I am not giving away your identity in any way at all. But because of the experience, I felt like I should be able to use it and help people understand certain things, because I feel like as a martial artist, we should help people. And honestly, I think that there's just a lot of people, and maybe this individual, so now let's get back on task. Maybe this individual has never really been around a transgender person. Maybe this person, he doesn't know a transgender person. I don't know. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about. If you just stick to the end, I do have a good message for all people in the martial arts. So please hear my ending lesson tonight, right? Don't be an asshole, I guess, right? But anyway, he gives me this thing, and then he starts using the wrong pronouns, and I basically say, look, you know, if you can't show me respect, I'm just going to give you a refund. This ain't going to happen. He's very apologetic and blah, blah, blah. He goes on after his apology, and he talks about how he's an African-American man, and that he gets people that are very racist towards him, and he understands what that's like. Now, with that, from here on out, I'm not going to talk about that individual anymore, except for the fact of that kind of conversation happens a lot. Like, they can recognize prejudice when it happens to them, but they don't recognize prejudice when they're doing it to somebody else. They can recognize prejudice when it happens to them, but they don't recognize prejudice when they're doing it to somebody else. That is what I really want to focus on as far as the ending message goes. As far as my experience as a transgendered woman teaching martial arts, I am not a big LGBTQ activist. I don't go to any LGBT parties. I don't know any other transgender people in my life. As far as like in the physical world, I mean, I met people online. I do not want to make a bunch of transgendered videos. I think I've had my YouTube channel since 2011, and this is my third video of me talking about, third or fourth video of me talking about, transgendered. It's just not a topic that I think needs to be discussed. I get it. There are a lot of people who feel like they need to have closure. They need to talk to people. They need to be part of groups. And I think that is absolutely great. Those groups are great. Sometimes people need that outlet. They need to be part of something, and they need to be part of a group that they feel is like them. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. For me, martial arts was that for me. I definitely don't think that society needs to be so damn prejudiced towards transgendered people. And that's where I draw the line. I definitely think society is hell-bent and very, very prejudiced towards transgender people. I definitely think society is hell-bent and extremely racist. As a woman who's married to a woman of color and has mixed children, I can definitely tell you that racism is alive and well. And anyone who don't think racism exists in this country, you're fucking blind. It does exist in this country. Prejudice exists in this country. Sexist exists in this country. Sexist remarks. Men of power putting women down, exist in this country. So without doubt, it exists in this country. And for me as a transgendered woman, and one thing I'm going to throw, and I'm not trying to strike my ego here, but I am the only woman in the world that runs an international martial arts business that's in the Koryu. There are other women who are masters of the martial arts and they run a martial arts business, but they're probably part of an organization, a larger organization, or they run the business with their husband. I'm the only one that started one from the bare bottom. I developed my own logo, my own brand, my own art, and I'm teaching it, and it's at an international level with people all over the world. And I've made 50 plus DVDs, I've wrote 6 books, I have an online ninjutsu dojo. I'm the only woman in the world in the Koryu community that teaches martial arts on an international level. And I'm the only transgendered woman, I think, in all of martial arts that teaches at an international level. And because of that position, being the only woman and the only transgendered woman in those categories like that, I feel like I do have to voice my opinion, because I do feel that society does not give a fair shake. I think that they do mock the transgender community. Maybe they don't mock me, but they definitely mock the transgender community. And a lot of people do mock me, they just don't mock me to my face. They mock me on the fucking internet. They mock me over the phone. They mock me in an email. They mock me behind my back, but they don't generally mock me to my face, you know? And it does suck when you're busting your ass all day long, and then the way that women are perceived in the martial arts, because of media, because of books, because of whatever, they're weaker. And transgendered women are seen even weaker than that. Like we should just roll over because, you know, we're just, you know, fluffy. As a woman who teaches martial arts, as a transgendered woman who teaches martial arts, I feel that as a martial artist, we should all embrace everyone. We should stop, you know, this whole idea of dividing people between like these stereotypical lines and help more people and stop judging them or being prejudiced towards them because of their sex or because of their gender or because of their race, when that shouldn't hold any water as to whether they're a good person or not. That shouldn't hold any water on whether they're a good martial artist or not. That shouldn't hold any water on whether they're a good martial art teacher or not. At the end of the day, knowledge is lightweight. You can take it anywhere you go. So if you find a teacher that can help you hone your skills and protect yourself and the ones that you love, that's the martial art teacher for you. Who gives a shit whether they're a man, a woman? If they're helping you be better, that's all that matters. I do believe that it is the media and the news and then the politicians that create this divide. I don't think it's the martial art community that creates the divide. I think it's the media, the politics, the news channels, the movies, Hollywood. I think they're the ones that really do it. And it sucks because we're the ones that have to deal with the problems of all the prejudice and hate and racist and sexist individuals. Those were my two topics tonight. I wanted to talk to you guys about women in the martial arts and what do you guys think. I also wanted to share with you guys some of my, you know, challenges as a martial art instructor, as a transgender woman. And it is something that I have to face every day on the internet. People are just hateful as fuck. I'm not going to stop being me. I love my life. I love who I am. And I'm going to keep living my life to be happy, regardless of what other people think. If people don't like who I am or like what I'm about, they don't have to train with me. I'm not asking anyone to train with me. I will accept people who want to train with me as long as they got a good heart and they're willing to learn. But as a martial arts community, I think we overall need to embrace individuals and embrace that as a good thing, that we're all different. That will be better for the martial arts community. And I know I did make a video. It's called, you know, I think it's called Don't Be an Asshole or something like that. Transgendered Awareness, Don't Be an Asshole. Google that one on YouTube. That's on there. That pretty much talks about the way to talk to people. But I just feel like this was something, because I'm seeing so much stuff in the news about women's rights, and then we see so much stuff on racism and sexist and prejudice, and we're seeing all these hateful things being pushed, and then the stuff that happens to me every day because I'm a transgendered woman teaching martial arts. I just felt like I needed to make this video and share some of my thoughts. I don't know how much of this you guys got. I don't know how much of this is going to help you guys open your mind towards not being an asshole, but here's the ending message. Don't be an asshole. You know what I mean? Accept people for who they are, help as many people as you can, and don't be judgmental over their gender, their race, or their religion. If they're living their life as a woman, they're a woman. If they're living their life as a man, they're a man. You don't need to know what's between their legs. And who they're married to shouldn't have anything to do with your personal life in any way, shape, or form. As a martial artist, we should love and embrace everyone and help as many people as we can. So thank you guys very much for your love and support. If this is the first video that you've seen of me, again, I'm Christa Jacobson, head mistress of the Budo Ryukai. I teach authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu. And if you're interested in the ancient Japanese martial arts, check out my website at www.budoryuninjutsu.com. Talk to you guys soon.